Here you see the stand-in astronauts. They're in that black vehicle there. They're just driving in front of what you see, our mission control facility. And coming on the right side of your screen here, that is the barn that we talk about with that big, beautiful feather on the side of it. The launch pad. Once the vehicle makes it out to the pad, they're actually going to go to the north side of what we call the ring road that goes around the pad, and they're going to stop for a team photo. That should be pretty fun. And as they're doing that, Patrick, maybe we should get into, finish up on the timeline that we were describing earlier of what's going to be happening here. So they've left the astronaut training center. They've driven out to the pad here. They're going to take their photo. After the photo, they're going to continue around to the base of the tower, climb those stairs, the set of stairs at the base of the tower, and they're going to go into that white shelter that you see at the top of your screen at the top of the towers. That is the safety shelter. And they're going to wait for the tower assistance from the tower operations team and crew member 7. They'll load into the capsule, get into their seats, and buckle into their harnesses. So our stand-in astronauts are going to be sitting on a fully fueled rocket today. This is, Patrick, this is as real as it can get without igniting the ignition and sending them on a trip to space today. Again, the rocket will be doing that today, just not with the astronauts.
Yeah.
There they go.
It's a
Looking
cool
good.
picture right there.
It's a pretty cool picture right there. We're in the middle of our astronaut rehearsal. Again, we're taking our stand-in astronauts, 4 Blue Origin employees, through our entire astronaut experience.
Absolutely.
Now, Patrick, why don't we pick it up? We talked about the timeline. They are ascending the stairs as we called out earlier.
And this also serves as a safety stop in case there's any issue on the pad. The astronauts and the team can safely stay in this shelter until situation is resolved. Of course, if our stand-ins or astronauts are in the capsule itself, they can quickly egress, make it across the gantry, and get into that shelter, and where they can wait out any issues at all. So, that room is quite multi-purpose there, as you can tell.
Right. Well, let's continue to watch here the operations inside the safety shelter. Looks like they are leaving the shelter.
That's right. So what you're going to see here is about an 8-minute long process of actually loading the 2 astronauts there into the capsule, and at the end of which, we're going to simulate the hatch closing with the 2 stand-ins inside.
That he designed. Audrey, who you just saw step into the capsule there, she is one of the leaders of our legal team and is a big part of all of the operations that we conduct here at Blue. But, in particular, Patrick, we talk a lot about the engineering that goes into the design and the manufacturing and the operations, et cetera. But there's an important legal component that goes into it too. In particular, there's a lot of interaction that we've had over years with the FAA, and so our point of contact is Audrey Powers. So to add to her, rock star resume, she's also a pilot, no big deal, and the first female chair of the Commercial Spaceflight Federation. So really, really neat. She's had some incredible impact on space legislation and policy in some major ways, for the whole entire commercial space industry. I do want to do a special little shout out to her niece, Genesee. Genesee is a big fan of Blue Origin and one of our Club for the Future members. So, hey, Genesee, good morning. And another shout out to Gary's kids, Anna and Alec. They are all potential future astronauts with us. So hopefully taking the footsteps behind their older family members. So why don't we continue to take a look here for our astronaut experience rehearsal. It is continuing. We have the stand-in astronauts in the capsule. Shepard, go. Beautiful. beautiful liftoff from our launch site 1 in West Texas. You can follow along as she gains speed in the bottom left corner of your screen. There's the speedometer, altimeter in the middle there. First milestone on her trip to space, max Q. That's when the dynamic pressure on the vehicle is at its maximum, the toughest point in flight for the vehicle. And max Q is confirmed. All right, right about this time in your flight, on ascent, you're going to max at about 3 Gs. We've noted it before. The max Gs that you pull as an astronaut on New Shepard actually is on descent. So here on ascent, it's about 3 Gs, and it comes on gradually as you go faster and get higher up there. Until, of course, main engine cutoff and separation, and that is when you get to feel those beautiful 0 Gs. We're waiting for that here. Next stops, MECO and separation. Coming up here on MECO, main engine cutoff. So far, a clean burn from our BE-3 engine. And now, as you can see, separation. Here we've got our infrared camera, especially on the left side. As you've seen earlier in the show, it is a little hazy down there in Texas, so we are going to rely on multiple cameras here as the vehicle continues its ascent towards space. We have passed over just about here the Kármán line. There it is. We, of course, preceded the launch by what appears to be a perfectly executed astronaut experience rehearsal. While there are no astronauts on board today, that was a critical step towards our march towards first human flight. All right, we've picked up our long-range cameras again. There you see the booster, the bottom of the screen, and the capsule on the top. At this point, the booster is re-entering the atmosphere. It means it's going to have air pressure against which those aerodynamic surfaces Patrick and I were walking you through can push against to guide the rocket back to its landing pad. And to think this rocket will have peaked at almost Mach 4, and by the time it touches down, it's just going to touch down at about 8 kilometers per hour or 5 miles per hour. So relatively speaking, a nice soft landing. Critical, as we talked about reusability, the softer the landing, the quicker you can turn it around, right? You're not jostling the rocket, you're not jostling the hardware. You want to be able to flip it around nice and quickly. So there you see the aft fins. We also call them the pie fins because they're shaped like pie wedges. All right, there go the drag brakes. And there you see all the speed bleeding off of the vehicle and waiting for our BE-3 engine to relight. There it goes. Landing gear deployed. Oh, look at that smooth landing. And touchdown. Welcome back, New Shepard.
Oh my God, what a beautiful landing,
I think
right?
that was one of the smoothest landings I've seen of this rocket. It almost looks unreal. It looks like CGI. I know some of you on the internet seem to think that. Believe me, that is a reusable rocket that takes off and lands. What a beautiful landing.
It looks like it's ready to go again.
Yeah, just, put in those drag brakes, put in the wedge fins, fuel her up, let's go again. But until then, the show is not over. We do have the crew capsule here. On board, we have Mannequin Skywalker, as well as a couple of payload lockers filled with postcards from Club for the Future, from students from around the world. We are waiting to see the drogue chutes come out. They will be followed by the main parachutes. And a little wink from one of those big, beautiful windows. Look at that. There go the drogues. And here come the mains. All 3 parachutes are out. We're looking for full inflation, and there they go. I love that. So far, so good. A nominal launch. Nominal landing for the booster. We're waiting for the crew capsule to come into land. We're at about 1,600 feet to go. And a nice smooth descent at about 16 or so miles per hour. Just at about 25 or so kilometers per hour. That is a nice smooth descent. There's the valley of our West Texas launch site. Launch Site 1, as we call it. What a day so far, Patrick, let me tell you. Now, at 800 feet to go here, we should remind everybody that we do have the retrothrust system that kicks on just in the last moment. Basically, it just creates a nice air cushion for the capsule so that if you, next time, hopefully, when you and I are up in that capsule one day, we are going to be getting a nice air cushion underneath the capsule. And touchdown.
Oh, it was beautiful.
Absolutely spectacular. Patrick, I told you it was going to be worth the wait. Look at that.
Definitely. I love you. You can just see it just as it lands. You see that puff of air and it kicks up all that dust, but it's just such a gentle landing right there.